What do all forms of conditioning, would doing all forms of conditioning produce better results, performance in the gym? So I'm guessing this question is kind of separating in the gym, meaning like weight training, resistance training. Um, the short answer, honestly, is I would say all forms no. Where I think you could make an argument for some forms maybe helping recovery. If there's some forms that basically, while in and of themselves, they don't require any recovery demands, but just involve you moving and some blood flow and circulation, they might help recovery. But as far as actual improving performance in the gym, I would say the type of cardio you actually do has to be very specific to the duration that you're training. So again, if I would say like pure hit style training, we'll probably have some crossover. So not that, don't get caught up on the time thing, but if your working sets are 30 to 40 seconds, and you do some stuff that's at that same level of intensity, 30 to 40 seconds, then there'll probably be some crossover. I honestly think when you get past that, people think, oh, if I'm better endurance, outside will relate to better endurance into the gym, which might technically be true. You don't take as long to catch your breath or whatever. Does that actually translate to you should have shorter rest times and you'll produce better results? I don't think so. So I think on the two scales of it, if there's things that are kind of your active recovery type things, going for a nice little walk, going on a recumbent bike, something that's relaxing, something that has you moving, doesn't demand recovery, then that in and of itself can help improve recovery, which could translate indirectly to the gym. But as far as actual direct gym performance, I would say it has to be very similar to the duration you're putting in effort in the gym, like a true pure hit style training. So
that is the best answer. The answer that I will give is not the best answer, but it will be practical because most people are not going to do hit, unfortunately. So what I would say is that conditioning, if you want to take it that far and go by the mechanisms and get some benefit from doing higher intensity work that matches the same time interval and relative effort interval that you're going to be doing your gym work in, cool. Do it. Please do it. Awesome. Video it. Tag Joe. Every time you do it. Please.
no one's going to tag.
Yeah. There will be no tags because nobody's going to do it. But your conditioning on the gym floor is going to self-perpetuate if you have all of your other ducks in the row and you already aren't in really bad cardiovascular conditioning. And so the best conditioning that you can do to improve your conditioning on the gym floor is one, training hard, because that will in itself bring you to the place that you need to be as long as you're enforcing yourself on keeping up the pace, trying to keep up the intensity and working through it. But then if you're already having struggle with your conditioning on the gym floor for your sessions, then likely you're not doing anything active outside of just those weightlifting sessions to perpetuate your cardio conditioning any further, which is the problem. So are you getting enough just normal everyday physical activity? Are you getting steps in at a proper amount that would just keep you generally healthy? Are you doing any kind of cardio? Not just hit. Are you doing cardio at all to help perpetuate your ability to do it? Yes or no? If you have a certain low level prerequisite cardiovascular conditioning, your work on the gym floor should not have any sort of negative impact on it whatsoever. You don't need to be a cardio freak. You don't have to have a big cardio regimen to be able to do your best work on the gym floor. The reason why HIIT works as the perfect answer for this is that it does ideally line up the effort level and the amount of time that you're going to be spending on the gym floor in a hard, intense set. That's why it lines up mechanistically and it'll actually help. However, you're already doing work that matches those same things. Those same parameters are already in play. You're already doing the training. If you have the ability to work through those sets and you can recover in between them, you already don't have a problem present. You get there by just not being so out of shape that doing effort for 30 to 40 seconds under some sort of relative intensity that's actually meaningful is going to drain you that hard that you have to sit out for 10 minutes so that you can get back up again.
Tag me in those cardio. This is my favorite question. It's not really a question, it's just a statement. I think it's like a complaint. Next time, instead of a Q&A, I'll have a complaint box and you can put complaints in there. You never talk about how to reduce side fat in natties. That's the complaint. So I guess if the question is, how do you reduce side fat in natties? Sorry.
No.
So I laugh at that question, but I will give an actual answer. It's not going to be an answer anyone likes. And remember, this is coming from personal experience. So I've been natty for the vast majority of my existence on this planet, and I've had plenty of side fat. I got some right now. So let's talk about how I get rid of that side fat. The same is way that anyone, whether you're enhanced or natty, or is there another category, an alien? I don't know how aliens and metabolisms work, but let's assume it's the same way. You put yourself in a structured deficit for a given period of time until said side fat is diminished to your liking. And so again, most people will say the only exception to that at some point in time, which is technically possible, is this whole, I'm not going to go into long, but is this metabolic adaptation thing is a potential real thing for a very, very, very small percentage of people. But assuming that's not you, you've probably just never actually have any idea of where your baseline is as far as metabolic output. You've never determined that and then determined what exactly do you have to do to create a deficit. So whether 200, 300 calorie, 100 calorie, doesn't really matter, deficit you want to create. Sustain that deficit until your body fat's at a level that you like and your side fat will go away. All that being said is the question is like, oh boy, I don't have fat here, I don't have fat here, I don't have fat here. For lack of a better term, genetics really determine where people store fat. And probably the last place for it to come off is also the first place for it to go on, and it's different for everybody. So again, if you're just staring at your side fat, it just means you probably haven't dieted long enough to get that last little spot to go off. Yeah. For anybody that has any fat at any location that you don't know how to get rid of, and you're natty like this person, that's the answer for you. So enjoy. Lose that side fat.
Yep, that's the answer. General deficit. Even competitors, all the way in the leanest shape that human beings can get to while retaining a large portion of muscle mass that they started with, there's going to be parts of you that are not going to be as lean as others. That is the way it is. We do have different distributions of where fat is placed, and the side fat, or really I think he's referring to lower back fat more than anything here.
If the lower back fat migrates around and can turn into side fat as well too. I'm an expert in side and lower back fat, so I can speak to this anecdotally all day.
So that area, like you said, is a super common area for that to be the first place for fat to go on when it's going on, and the last place for it to come off of when it's coming off of you. And so, again, just to reiterate, because he pretty much nailed it, you just need to be in a general deficit for long enough that you get everything off. If your concern is getting side fat or lower back fat off, you're just going to have to get all of it off to the degree that that will go away as well, which you may end up being disproportionately lean in some places to get that to happen. But if that's the goal, that's the goal. And that's the way that you actually get there.
Next question. 2-a-day training, question mark. Is this ever a good idea, assuming recovery and stress are on point? So again, this is one of those things that I think is a nuanced answer. Most nerds right now will answer, no one needs 2-a-day training, that's too much, blah, blah, whatever. At the end of the day, I say really look at what is the difference between all other things being the same, one session and 2 sessions in a given day. So let's say I'm going to do one session with 8 exercises, or 2 sessions with 4 exercises and 4 exercises. What's going to be the different level of stimulus with those 2 things? So if I do 4 exercises and 4 exercises, the ones that I would do as the second session, those 4, will be at a higher level of intensity than they would be following those in the same session. And there's no way around that, assuming that you've had some meals, maybe you had a nap, whatever it is. So what difference is that going to create? Overall, there's no reason to get too nuanced because no one's this structured with their stuff. You're going to have more, all training breaks down to stimulus and recovery. So 2-a-days will create more stimulus for you to recover from. Now that being said, does sometimes someone need more stimulus, or can someone tolerate more stimulus? It's rare, but the answer is yes. And so again, I can speak to this too, because personally, 2 of the best phases of progress I've ever made in my entire life were when I was doing 2-a-days. And one of them was when I was in college, and I was probably eating 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day and sleeping 11 to 12 hours a night. And that's the fastest I've ever grown in my life as well too. And it was 2 shorter sessions, an hour and a half session and an hour session normally, or an hour and a half and 45 minutes. But I figured out real fast if I did a push-pull over split and I did all of my push together, or I broke up my push, I would have much better performance. And you don't need to do that yourself to figure it out, although it's pretty easy. You don't need me to tell you that, it's pretty easy. So again, that's just the big thing. You really have to be recovering like a beast to make it work. But if you are that beast, or you're like me and you were in college, you're in a period of time, I would honestly say if you're in a period of time in your life when you can make it work, 2 days are freaking great. Just because here's some math for you guys. Write this down. One gym good, one gym times two, twice as good, right? So write that equation down. And so again, for no other reason than that, if you can make it work, have at it. So yeah, it's one of those things where if you need more stimulus and that very simple stimulus and recovery thing, then 2 days can provide more stimulus. And then you can get into like systemically, elevating cortisol twice a day. Is that a little bit more also demanding on recovery? Maybe. But again, for most normal people, like I said, if you can recover like a beast, have at it. If you're, already sleeping 6-7 hours a night, your nutrition sucks, then no. And again, unless it's just fun for you, that's your goal is fun and be in the gym twice as often, then that's fine as well too.
He did it. He covered it.
Not only did I cover it, but now Nick didn't even answer. Nick didn't have anything to add. Man, that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
I don't have to add anything. Yeah.
Now we do a cool sign off. Bye. See you later. Come back soon.